Hi everyone, it's me, Darlene. I am here to start off the next sampler quilt. I won't be doing any sewing in this video because I want to give you guys the plan so you can gather your fabrics and be ready in case you want to do it with me as we go. This is going to be very easy. I wanted something easy for you guys because my first sampler quilt, as much as I loved that process, I knew it wasn't anything that anybody would really be following, certainly not to a T, because I was just slapping stuff together and I really loved that I did that, but now I wanted to do something simple. So I have gone to the point of so simple that I'm almost embarrassed to even call it a sampler quilt, but I'm going to because there's no rules. We can do whatever we want. And some of you are going to really like this one because it can also be a memory quilt. If you have clothing from loved ones or even from just your children that you want to save some of their clothing, you could do that for this quilt. Cut their clothing and add it to the quilt. We'll talk about that a little bit more as we go. I'm calling this a cheater's sampler quilt because we're not doing any piecing. We're just going to let the fabrics that we choose be what we're showing off. Normally a sampler quilt is usually like all different blocks. It was a way for people to be able to show how good they were at making certain quilt blocks, showing off their craft, and they would just put, different blocks in a quilt. And we're going to do different blocks in the quilt, but we're just going to pick fabrics that we love for whatever reason, and that's what we're going to put in the quilt. So I designed a quilt. I think it came out pretty damned good. I like it very much. I wanted some big spaces, and we have that, and then I wanted some little spaces, and we have that. This is on my blog. Go see the link down below. It's not a PDF, but if you click on the image, it should get big, and that's what I did, and I was able to print it like this, a full sheet. So when your printing settings or whatever come up, if you have a way to pick full sheet or whatever, you can print it, even if it doesn't come out this big. But I thought that was cool that it came out the exact size as my page. So each square is an inch, and I also have in that blog post all the sizes of the squares. So you don't have to count all those little squares like I did. And I did it twice. I hope I didn't make a mistake still. We're just going to cut fabric to fill each block. Huh? How cool is that? And then we have sashing, and you could do all one color. That's what I'm going to do. Or you could do scrappy sashing if you wanted, although I think that the blocks of fabric won't pop if the sashing is scrappy and all different. So you might want to go with one color for the sashing. It doesn't have to be solid. I'm probably going to use muslin. I don't know if I will be using the unbleached or the bleached yet because I don't have any idea what I'm doing for fabrics yet. Another reason why we're not sewing in this video. But I should almost always have muslin for sale on eBay. If you're a patron or a YouTube member, you get that inside your exclusive sales. But if you're not, you can get it on eBay. So go check out down below the eBay link to see in case you want to use muslin too. I really love the unbleached. I do. It's got the seed specks and I just love it. And the bleached is okay too. Because it's not like pure white, like if you buy a solid white. And because it is muslin, it does have a few of the seed specks here and there, but not like the unbleached. I don't know if they just don't add the seeds or if they just get bleached or whatever. But I have muslin. That's all I'm trying to say. If you want to go buy some, go check the links down below. What do I want to tell you? Oh yes, one thing important. You might be like, why does Darlene have all the cut blocks as like a half size, like 3.5, 8.5, when these are all 1 inch? Remember that you have to add a 1/2 inch seam allowance in both ways when you cut the block. So if something is 4 inches, okay, let's see, this is 3 inches wide by 4 inches tall. Those are just little itty bitty blocks. So we're going to have to cut 3.5 inches wide by 4.5 inches tall. And that allows for a 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way around. Windy all of a sudden? I kind of like that. So I think our smallest is a 3x3, and there's probably a couple of them in there. And I can't remember, I don't know, something big here and, you know, some long. This is a wide, narrow one. I just really wanted all kinds of sizes. And here's your task for the week while waiting for episode 2. You can start looking for what you want to put in each block. So let me give you some ideas of what I would like to put. Something big like this, I mean, I would like to find just a big, funky print that I like and just feature that print. For the smaller things, I would like to, you know, maybe use some little motifs that I have, although I've sold so many of them as penny auctions on eBay. I don't even know if I have much of anything left. I don't want to do my little farm animals again because those are in my other quilt. But I'll try to find something, or I'll go walking around Marden's Fabric Center, you know, the fabric section of that store, and see what I can find. And then I'm just going to bring this with me, and I'm going to try to, you know, I might write the sizes in, and I'm just going to go hunting for fabric. How fun. Something like this that's wide and narrow, I have like border strips, and maybe I could put that there. Just all kinds of things. Now, ooh, this is kind of long too. Oh, I'm so excited. I did want to say, if you want to do some piecing, you can just create whatever blocks you want, and then you'll have to trim them to whatever sizes these are. I just think it's a pretty cool layout. It was very fun doing this. I'm going to be doing this again, and you'll notice that everything is in like a block. This is actually like 3 sections. Here is a whole piece here on the bottom, and then here is the line that separates there. So there's like this whole big square. This. Oh, I can look at the back of the page, and then I know where my hand needs to be. Okay, so we have this square here. That's one whole piece. And then this one here is one whole piece. And then the bottom is one whole piece. Then, so we would be creating those 3 big sections and sewing them together. But inside each one of those sections, we have other blocks that we can build. Like this one is obviously all by itself. We would sew these 2 together, and then we would have this one and this one, and then we'd sew all 4 of those together, and then we'd be done that. And here we would start, you know, putting these 2 together. We would put those 2 together. We would put those 2 to this, sew that together, sew it to this guy, and we'd be done. And then we could sew it all, you know, to this. Put all these things together and sew that. So I think it's going to be really, really fun to do. I hope you enjoy this. So let me talk about the different kinds of blocks. If you want to do a memory quilt, you can use, even if you're not doing a memory quilt, you don't have to use all just regular quilt cotton for this. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking that I might like to use different fabrics. I don't know yet. I really have to think. I really do. Like you could use some quilt cotton. You could use some flannel, some homespun. It could be, instead of just featuring the print, maybe we should do another whole quilt for that later. Instead of featuring the prints that you like, you could feature different fabrics that you like. You could even have a piece of denim. And what are other things? You know, just fabric. Oh, you could use stretch fabrics, t-shirt, whatever. Especially if you are making a memory quilt. You might have clothes that is stretchy. You use my fusible that I also have on eBay. I don't think I'll be carrying the black one that I love so much because it's just a pain in the ass to get that one. But I can order entire bolts of the white. So I have the white available unless it runs out. If it runs out, there'll be more coming. So you can get yourself some fusible. I sell it by the yard. And you would just put some fusible on the back of like anything stretchy or anything slinky, like if you had like a satiny kind of polyester that, you know, some kind of clothing like that that you would want to have in the quilt. You would just press that on. Anything synthetic, when you're gluing it to the fusible, it's good to put a pressing cloth on top. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It could just be another piece of fabric, just so it won't stick to anything synthetic, because you're leaving your iron on there for a little bit, and you just don't want to burn or scorch or melt something polyester. Okay? Whether you're doing a memory quilt or not, you could mix up the fabrics. If you're doing a memory quilt, think of doing things like, if there's a shirt pocket, cut around that and see if it'll fit in one of these blocks. Things like that are pretty cool. The shirt pocket, you can even cut like around a zipper, and that even goes into now the theme of a fidget quilt for people who like to fidget with the things. That's always an option. You could make it a fidget quilt and have something to fidget with in each block. There's just so many options. All it is I'm giving you the layout and the sizes, and then you can fill it any way you want. But the purpose is for people who are just maybe starting out, it's to just go find fabric you like that might fit that square, trim it to size, and then we will be sashing it. So as for the fabric, what else did I want to say? Oh yeah, so let's say you even wanted to cut a block in half here. You wanted to do 2 here. I have the sashing as 2 inches, so our sashing will have to be cut 2.5 inches by the width of the fabric. And then, you know, if you wanted to do that, just count your squares and how many squares. Like if it ends up being 8 by 5, then your fabric has to be 8.5 by 5.5. Just remember to add the 1/2 inch in both directions, so you will have enough for your seam allowances. Oh yeah, the other thing, so say you have a piece or even a block that you've made that you would like to feature, but it's not fitting any of these sizes. If it fits in a bigger block, but not fully, you can just add fabric to it. And just like if you're using clothing or whatever, you can just add some fabric to both sides or all sides to make it fit, make it bigger, and then trim it. You know what I mean, Jelly Bean? But for these little ones, I'm really going to try to find either something like a little motif or a print that I can fussy cut to just cut like a part of that fabric that I would like to have. I'm so excited about this one. Are you? I hope you are. I'm looking at my notes. A theme quilt. If you don't care to do a memory quilt and you're like, I don't know what kind of fabric prints I want to put in there, think of a theme. If you like floral fabrics, which I am finding are so popular, you could say, I'm going to just feature all different florals. And it doesn't have to match. That's not the purpose of this quilt, to make something matchy-matchy. It's just like a sampler quilt. All the quilt blocks are different. This is a cheater's quilt where we're just going to cheat and hardly do any sewing. We're going to cut and slap things into this box wherever it fits. You could do like all different florals. You could do big florals for the big spaces, tiny florals for the little tiny spaces. You could also do like holiday theme if you want to make something for Easter or Valentine's Day, or start now for Christmas. You could just have every block, you know, be something with that theme. You could also do a color theme, like everything blue, but all different blues, different patterns and different blues. Just think about it. That's why I wanted to put this video up first before we actually start sewing. I seriously want you to print this and go hunting. Hunt through your stash to see what you might be able to use that you already have, or hunt online for different fabrics. Look at my eBay auctions and my listings. You might find something there that you like. You know, I do sell some panels that are little squares. I didn't plan this with anything in mind. I just did this because I just felt like doing this. But, you know, sometimes I sell panels that will have like 6-inch blocks or something like that. I don't know. Maybe I have something that would fit in here. And maybe not. But again, if something is small and you need it to be bigger, you could always add fabric around it. Is there anything else that I wanted to tell you about this? I think I told you everything that I wanted to tell you. right now. I'll probably think of a whole bunch of other things after. So, like I said, this should be pretty easy and it should be pretty quick. We have some pretty big blocks that's going to be, you know, put together quickly. The only thing is that you'll have to do is cut your sashing strips. They're going to be 2.5-inch strips, so you can start doing that. I don't know exactly, but I think we should be safe with 1.5 yards. Now, I know I kept running out of background last time, but that's because I was using it for background, not just sashing. And I had 2 yards, and that did a lot. And I just did a rough estimate, counting, you know, how many lines across and up and down. 1.5 yards should be enough for our sashing, and if you're afraid and you really want wiggle room, you can always pick up a couple of yards. I don't know if I want to go with muslin. I just don't know. I don't know anything yet. I would like to get started by seeing a few things. Maybe I will pick a theme. I don't know. I have no clue. I think a theme in the way would kind of be fun, and it would limit me to, like, you know, like all animal prints or something like that. And I don't know. I'm so excited. I can't wait to start. So the first video of sewing will be up next weekend. And I'm going to try to, like, you know, at least, like, maybe complete this section here. Does that sound like a plan? This big guy and this. So I don't think it's going to take too many videos to finish. And this should end up being 40 by 55. If you want to change that, all you have to do is plan ahead and, you know, just add. If you want it wider, taller, you can just add to it. I guess I will stop now. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys like this series. My plan is to always have a different sampler quilt coming up, and I have some funky ideas for sampler quilts that I'm so excited about and just can't wait to show you. And I really loved designing this stuff, so I know I'll be doing that again. And feel free to, you know, use that pattern again another time. You might really like the way it comes out. I don't know. I've never seen a quilt like this exactly. And we'll see when I get mine done. If I like it, then I could say sometime, let's just do this one again, and I'll show it to you using different fabrics or something. But I think I'll want to always design something new. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, okay? Do you see how serious I am about that? I am getting very close to 100,000 subscribers at this point. Well, I say very close. I'm at, what, 93? Something like that, almost 93. It's been a long 5 years, 5+ years, and I'm still not at 100,000, so I'm doing something wrong. I'm doing something right because I'm still here. That's all I care about. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back with more soon. Bye!